What's up, guys, and welcome back to White Friends English.
Today we're going to talk about 8 words that are spelled the same but pronounced in 2 different ways, specifically a business context. This is another English pronunciation check.
We've done a video recently about some other words that are spelled the same, pronounced different ways. This one we're going to focus a little bit more on business English. We're going to kind of keep revolving around that theme, but keep in mind that a lot of these words that we're going to talk about today have different meanings outside of business. These are just some of the ones that we chose in this specific context that you might hear in business English. Like our last video, we're going to start with the noun form, and then we're going to go to the verb form.
We'll tell you if it doesn't have a noun form, because one of these in here does not. The third sentences that we do, where we use both words side by side or within the same sentence, we tend to avoid that as natural English speakers because we want to vary our writing. We don't want to sound redundant or write redundantly. So in speaking and in writing, we tend to avoid using the noun and verb form or the adjective and noun form together in a sentence because it just sounds too much.
Yeah.
However, we might use it for a joke. We might use it to put extra emphasis in a goofy way to lighten the mood or something like that. But typically you want to avoid that. We're providing these for you to have some speaking practice within the same sentence because training the articulation as you pronounce words is really, really difficult. So if you can practice these in full sentences where you can understand the meaning in the grammar as you speak, while practicing pronunciation, you're doing integrated learning that way. Yeah. That's why we add these sentences, even though the third one where we do both words is a little bit unrealistic. So let's get to it. So the first one is present or present.
So the present can mean actually 2 things. It can mean like a now time. This is the present, or it could mean like a gift that you give somebody.
Yes, where present is when you're showing something or illustrating something. Presentation comes from present.
For example, the company offers a present every year around Christmas time.
Bill, please present the findings. Another form of this word is actually an adjective and it's present, but we also say it the same as we do the noun. So the present time or in the present.
At the present time, we don't have any of that item in stock. Or, combining it together, he presented a present to the chairman of the board. So the next one is perfect and perfect.
This one has an adjective form and a verb form. So the adjective form is to describe how perfect something is. Like, he designed the perfect program.
But the verb would look like it took us 12 years to perfect the product.
You can practice the pronunciation of both of these together by saying, he perfected his boss's perfect presentation. This one has an adjective form and a verb form, but it doesn't have a noun form because we can't say a perfect. We would have to change that to perfection instead, which is a noun that we do use. The other 2 forms are derived from perfection. So the next one is extract and extract.
Both of these come from the same idea of to pull something out of something. One is the noun, the thing that comes from the thing, and the other one is the verb of to do the pulling.
Right. It's called extract because it's been extracted from something. So vanilla extract is a huge market.
Or it can be costly to extract natural resources.
And then you could say vanilla extract is difficult to extract. So that's a great way for you to practice these 2 terms in the same sentence. The next one is produce, produce.
Sourcing produce from local farmers is typically more expensive.
Whereas he's able to produce 1,000 units every month. Together, we can say the organic produce produces a flavor that industrial produce does not. To produce something has very much of a man-made feel, where you can cultivate the crops, you can do a lot, but we're not actually making it grow. We're making the circumstances as perfect as possible so that the produce can grow, but we don't ourselves produce it. That's not a way that we would use it.
Yeah, produce, the verb, seems more industrial.
It seems more industrial, yeah.
So the next one is address and address.
Yes, you can find us at this address.
Or please address the manager with respect. We had to address some issues at this address.
Address, you can tell, is the physical location, and it's the numbers associated with that. So if you want something shipped to your house or you want someone to find you, but you're not going to go meet up somewhere, you might just give them your address. Yeah. But to address something has more of a It's very much sending it to you're addressing one person, and to use address is a little bit more formal. This is something like a manager would say very often is you need to address this. Yeah. Or a boss would say to the manager, you need to address this in your team. Project and project. So to complete a project is a great thing.
Yes, but project is more of a future thing to say, where will we be next year? That's like project or projection.
Vision casting, to where it's like, where are we headed?
Right.
in terms of the company. And we actually have another noun, the projector, is an idea of it uses light to put an image on a flat surface. So we might call this a projector.
So for example, we are about to undertake a huge project.
We project it'll take us 6 months.
Putting them together, they projected the project would be completed in May. So the next one is permit and permit.
So a permit, usually they're predecessor to a license. So like a driver's license is a great example because you drive, you need a driver's license, a state issued ID. It is some kind of license that permits you to drive. It says that I have the training and the okay basically to drive. But there's a stepping stone before that in America where you have to get a driver's permit first. So some states is 14, you can start with a driver's permit, and some states it's 16. That permit means I can drive if someone with a license is with me. So it's basically a training thing. However, in business, we use a permit kind of the same way. It's not as full and expensive or as heavy as a license to do something, but you're permitted to do it. The idea of a permit means something that you have to renew in a shorter amount of time. So maybe every year, every 5 years, whereas a license might last you much longer, like 10 years.
And to permit means that you're allowing something to happen.
Yes, both of these come from permission.
Yes. So for example, you need a permit to export lye.
He did not permit the team to continue their work.
And putting them together, the CEO did not permit the manager to obtain an electrical work permit.
The next one is reject or reject.
This one actually has quite a bit to it. So reject, the noun, can mean that it is a thing like products or something like that have been rejected. Or
it falls short of certain standards.
Right. Or it could also be a noun. A person is considered a reject if they reject social rules or whatever.
That's a very high school cliquish thing to say, and it's not very nice. So I wouldn't call somebody a reject. It basically is a mean way to say nobody wants you. So, and you don't want the world, so who are you? Kind of a thing. And it's very, very rude. I wouldn't say that.
But to reject means that you don't allow. You say you can't do this.
Even more than that, it's like you just turn them away. It's the idea of you've not only just not allowed someone to come into your circle, into your house, try your product or whatever. The idea is you've turned them away and like kind of pushed them away a bit. Items that don't pass inspection are called rejects.
Or he rejected the client's offer.
Together, the rejects were rejected due to faulty wiring. Notice that the emphasis, again, for most of these nouns is on the first syllable and reduces the second, with the adjectives too. However, with the verbs, the emphasis is not on the first. That syllable is reduced where the second one is emphasized. That's where you put the most. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and go through all of them once more.
Present, present.
Present, present. Perfect, perfect.
Perfect, perfect.
Extract, extract.
Extract, extract.
Produce, produce.
Produce, produce. Address, address.
Address, address. Project, project.
Project, project. Permit, permit.
Permit, permit. Reject, reject.
Reject, reject.
That's it, guys. We have 8 words spelled the same, but pronounced in 2 different ways. Notice that these that we've presented to you today, they have meanings in other contexts too, and this is just a stepping stone to help you be able to operate in a business context. A lot of them have very strong ties to more longer noun forms, like permission, for example, or rejection. Go back and listen through. Try to use at least the 3rd sentence to help practice making these right, because if you can do that, you're one step closer to getting these tricky forms down pat. If you guys have found any others in your study lately, go ahead and post them below in the comments, and we can learn from each other what is out there already that you have come across that are kind of tricky to know, and you need to know the context and you need to know the part of speech in order to pronounce them correctly.